29th of November 25, and I'm just looking at this poll that Restore UK got done via Find Out Now, who always seem to have Reform really high, so on 33%. Usually Find Out Now have them either highest or second highest, and they have the Greens doing really well and Labour doing really bad, which I think is probably accurate, but just looking at them, this one's by Restore UK, who paid for it via Find Out Now. And this is one of the great things about Restore, the commission polls. They do all sorts of things, but polls are the only thing we've got in between voting, really. It's the only chance we get. As I say, I don't believe in the electoral system that we've got. It should be like direct democracy, referendums on issues. It shouldn't be really party based. It should be, you vote on different issues, etc. But anyway, looking at this, if Rupert Lowe had a party, this is what Restore UK have asked him to ask. How would they do currently in a vote? And it reckons they would get about 10%. Find Out Now pollsters. And Reform would be 25, so they would be down. Greens 18, looks like they wouldn't be touched. Labour 16, Tories 13, they would lose maybe 5 to Rupert Lowe's party. Lib Dems, or we think that anyway, I do. SNP 3, nobody else really affected, I don't think, but it's really interesting. I mean, we did have a poll recently, how would your party do if they were already a party, and they were like 15%, but then the next poll they were around about 6% or 5% or something. So I mean, you can't take too much out of this, but it is interesting. Now I'm looking at the demographics just to see. So I mean, I think, well, there is polls every week, not in Scotland, but there should be, because there should be polls about everything. There should be a poll about the budget at the moment. I don't believe in the system we've got, but because it's not democratic really. Switzerland is about the only democratic place, but even there, I don't know. But apparently they've got the biggest percent of immigrants or foreign-born people. It's like 31% there of Swiss citizens are foreign-born. I think in the UK it's 17%. So they've got direct democracy and they've got 31% foreign-born. But then I don't know if that might be rich people, I don't know. I mean, I doubt it, but anyway, just looking, I think it's, you need to look at the demographics of these sort of polls as well, so this is the ones, this would, if you included Rupert Lowe party, which I'd probably say just call it that, I think, to me it sounds like he might be thinking of having a party, because he rightly says that we can't wait to 2029, and that's totally correct, and he's using his Restore UK as a pressure group, yeah, but in the end we probably need a party in the end, and it sounded like yesterday on his YouTube channel like he was thinking about it, anyway, on to this. So this is looking at, so in 18 to 24 year olds, if you're including the Rupert Lowe party, it'd be 5% would be interested in voting his thingy. I mean, that's more than the SNP, who are dominant in Scotland, obviously, and nowhere else. 2%. I mean, Scotland's only 10% of our population. So here's the demographics with the Rupert Lowe party. All voters, they would get 10%. Amongst the 18 to 24, 5. 25 to 49, 8. 50 to 64, 12. 65 plus, 15. Male, 14. Female, 6. No degree, wait a minute. No degrees, 16%, so he's pretty good with the no degrees. Degree or higher, 5%. London, 4. North England, 13. Midlands, 12. Basically, I think he'll probably follow the Reform to a good degree. Midlands, 12. South England, 11. Excluding London. Scotland, 3. And Wales, 6, which is pretty good. And there's comparing it to Reform. Find out now reckons Reform will get 25 at the moment, so that's really dropped. I think it's dropped 5 points or something. I don't know what's going on. Age 18 to 24. I mean, Reform do seem to be reversing a bit at the moment. I don't know why. Personally, I've switched to Reform myself because I only vote on one issue. I think only one issue really matters. So everything else, it'll all fall to pieces if it's not for that issue, you know. So anyway, age 18 to 24 Reform, I've got 20% already. So I mean, that's pretty good amongst youth. Let's see what Labour are. So, Labour are in the third column. So amongst 18 to 24, they reckon Labour would only get 16%. I think I'll probably switch to the Greens. 18%. But Reform are actually the highest. No, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, Reform 20% amongst 18 to 24. Labour 25. And what's the Greens? 30. So, yeah. And I'm just looking compared to Reform. So 25 to 49 Reform would be 25. I'm looking at Reform now. 50 to 64, 28. 30 amongst 65 plus. Male 28%, female 22%. No degree 28%. Degree or higher 22%. So they've got quite a big thing there amongst degrees. Let's see who else has degrees. Is that the Lib Dems or Greens? Yeah, it's the Greens. They're at 24, if I've got that right. Yeah. So amongst degrees, it's the Greens and then it's Reform. London, Reform are 18%. I mean, that's pretty big for London. Labour are 24. Greens are 28. So they're like the biggest party there now. Yeah. So I'll try and show you the others. It's just a pity it's all so small. There's Labour, Tories, Greens, Lib Dems, SNP. We'll try and do it better than this, won't it? There I've used abbreviations. It's interesting. Well, here they haven't done ethnicity. I wonder if they didn't do it. I don't know. I'll take a look later and see. But I would imagine they wouldn't do very well amongst. Well, they only do well amongst one group, I would imagine. But you can't tell really. All voters. So yeah, age 18 to 24. So the Greens are highest there. I think that's a turnaround from Labour recently, in the last month or two, probably since Zach Polanski came in. 25 to 49. The Greens are 22. Labour 22. Reform 25. Low 8. 50 to 64. So Reform lead amongst them. And Labour are only 14%. Greens are 16. 65 plus. And Rupert's doing really well there. 15. Reform on 30. Who's it? The Greens on 12. Labour on 10. So Labour are not doing well in older groups. It's really younger groups that seem to be keeping them going at the moment. Then male, Reform are doing well at 28. Rupert's got 14. Female, 22 for Reform, 6 for Rupert. And is it the Greens doing best there? Yeah, the Greens are beating the other lefties. No degree. Reform and Rupert doing really well there. In fact, Rupert would be second of this group. And who's next? I think it is. Is that the Tories? Yeah, it is. then the Greens, I think, then Labour, 13. I thought I'd already done degrees. Oh yeah, degrees. So Rupert's not doing too well with degrees or females. The Greens, I think they're going for the Greens, the degree people. Yeah, 24. Then it's 22 Reform, so that's quite a lot amongst degrees. And London, 28 the Greens, 24 Labour, Reform in 18, that's not bad. And don't forget, we're probably going to have independents and new parties. We've got Aspire in London, East London in particular. And in the south, so we're North England, Rupert's doing really well, 13, in the Midlands 12, so Restore, I mean, as well. Yeah, and South London, excluding London, the south, 11, so that's pretty good, and Reform in 27. And Scotland, Reform here, they're saying we'll have 12%, so that's pretty big. I've seen them higher, 21%, so, but still pretty big. Rupert would be 3 at the moment. Remember, this is when they're unknown, really. SNP would be 48. Yeah, I think that's right. Probably. Labour would be what? 6% or something? Oh, wait a minute. 12. Tories would be 6. Greens would be 10. I think SNP would be 48%. And then in Wales, Rupert would do better with 6%, 18% for Reform, 14 for Labour, 12 for the Tories, 12 for Greens, 9 for Lib Dem, and 19 for Plaid Cymru. So it's really between Plaid Cymru and Reform, although Rupert would do not too bad there. And it seems that they have got an ethnic data set, so for white, they're saying it's 81% at the moment. I doubt it is now. Although that includes, I think that includes Europeans as well. It's not just native British. I think native British is, I don't know, 71% or something. 70. Yeah, so Low would be 12% and Reform would be 30%, so that's pretty high. So if we look at this group anyway, that's white, including Europeans, not just native Brits, I would imagine. Low on 12%, so that's pretty high. Reform on 30%, that's high. Labour 12, so they're like done really with the Conservatives 15, Greens 14. Thought it could have been higher. Lib Dems 12, others 4. And so let's look at. I mean, I think how they call these groups is wrong. You've got to be more than that, really. You should have at least. Yeah. Anyway, as expected, Rupert doesn't do well in any of them, really. 3%, 2%, 5%, 4%. Reform, they do a bit better, 10, 8, 18, 15. So, I mean, that's pretty good amongst mixed and other ethnic groups. It doesn't surprise me totally because judging from the countries that people are coming from and the sort of governments they have, it's, well, it doesn't really matter, but we don't live in a free country, so, anyway, let's see. I mean, Obama once said something like, you can see how people might vote Trump because they think of him as a macho guy, just that sort of macho-ness or whatever. A party that's looking to be as if they're going to be bad to others. I mean, that's not actually what Reform or Rupert Lowe stand for, but it might be how they're perceived, especially amongst the left. They go on about that, but that might be attractive, to judging the governments around the world, like Modi and that such things. Anyway, Labour, let's see, amongst those other groups, let's see, 35, 45, 25, 20. So, especially amongst black, they're very popular. And I can see why that is, because at the moment they have nobody else to vote for. I can see someday we're going to have a Matter Lives party, basically, and then Labour will lose that vote. But for the moment, they're thinking probably borders and benefits. Well, we don't know that, but so a lot of support there for Labour. In fact, they've got the most. After that, the Greens, especially I think some Asians will have moved to them recently, I would imagine. Maybe not for the reasons the Greens think. Mixed their way over there, like 25, they're equal with Labour amongst mixed. Asian British 20, black 22, other ethnic groups 18. So the Greens pretty popular. If you compare it to Labour, amongst mixed and other ethnic groups, it's around about the same. But the first two groups, Labour are way ahead. I mean, is that Labour's main group now, really, when you look? Although they're only maybe about 30% of or according to this, 19% of the population, but there's no British native label here. Lib Dems, 12 and 14 down there, so they're doing alright. And other, well, amongst Asian British, other gets 9%. We don't know if that's Jeremy Corbyn's party or the New Independents, probably, I would guess. Against black, it's 8. Maybe, I don't know who they would have found to support yet. Maybe they're thinking your party. Could be SNP and Plaid Cymru, I suppose. And in other ethnic group, it's 17%, and we don't even know what that is. But this was all very interesting anyway. I mean, the polling should have maybe included Advance, because Ben wanted Rupert to lead Advance. Rupert didn't want to. I think it's went a bit cold between the two presently. They've not talked for a while, Ben says. But I don't think they don't get on, and I think it's just that Rupert wants to do his own thing. But now it feels as if he's contemplating starting a party, but you've got Advance as well, and I wonder, he should have added Advance to that poll, because that might change things as well, I think a lot of Reform are probably going to go to Advance, probably, which is good, because I want an Overton window shift on one issue, and Advance are probably the strongest on that, possibly the nearest to what America announced yesterday, Trump, etc. Yeah, I'm not saying it because we don't live in a free speech country, not even within certain boundaries. I mean, if you look at the Prevent thing, there's one listing on there that doesn't even make sense, because it's hard to argue against what it's saying, by that I mean it's hard to think that the opposite isn't going to happen, and I'm not talking about violence or anything like that. I'm talking about what they're calling a conspiracy theory, which is nonsense. It's just like logic, to do with how the country's going to change. And I would like to know who came up with that idea, who decided that. I mean, how high up does it go to sort of questions like that? Because I don't think they've got the public support for it. Certainly amongst probably the whites. It's as if it's to try and stamp out even discussing things that basically in any other walk of life the British elite would encourage, because they want enlightenment, but we're sort of staying in the dark on this thing, Anyway, I'm really good what Restore UK is doing. I'm really a big support. They want to be a sort of pressure group on the current parliamentary system and the parties. I'm totally in favour of that. I think they're doing great things, especially Rupert. Great respect for him and his team. And now they've got a YouTube channel on Thursdays, because they commission polls like this one from Find Out Now, so that we learn stuff and then how the public are thinking, because it's meant to be about the public, you know. If you don't have polls, then you don't know what the public are thinking, really. And yeah, they use Parliament as intended. They ask questions all the time. They use the petition thing, where if you get 100,000 signatures, they have to have a debate. And Restore's done that a few times now, which I totally agree with. And Rupert said the other day that he reckons they'll probably increase the number needed for that now, because Restore UK can get 100,000 signatures within a day. But it is ironic, because it means they're going against the democracy, you know, the Parliament, when they do that, because they're making it harder and harder to have these debates. Like, Parliament's a joke, you know, first past the post is a joke. The amount of time they're in Parliament, you know, I think they get around about 16 weeks off or something a year. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're only there maybe 2.5 days a week, maybe 3.5. Most of them fly home, maybe even after Prime Minister's questions on a Wednesday or the Thursday. Yeah, I mean, Parliament should be on 24/7, you know, unless there's no laws need changed, in my opinion. And then if that means you need more MPs for each constituency, yeah. I don't agree with the setup anyway, but yeah, it should be on 24/7, because unless there's no laws, nothing needs changed or scrutinised. Why have we got these big massive holidays? Why have we got part-time work there? I mean, really it's a Monday they do the heavy duty stuff. They stay on to about 10 o'clock. They used to stay on to about 10 on a Tuesday as well, but now after women became big in it, they said, let's try and sort it out for women. So they finish around about 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, maybe even 4 o'clock, or 6 or something. But anyway, they only do really one big day. Then a sort of maybe, I mean, they start at 12 o'clock noon, you know, so for a start, they're not doing anything in the mornings, so yeah. So it's really good what Restore are doing. I think this is very useful information. Just to finish with what Grok, I've been using Grok here, what they think the highlights are of that ethnicity data set. White voters, Low and Reformed combined would be 42%, so that's pretty high. It's still not over 50 though, so yeah, strong right-wing bloc. Reform leads overall. Amongst Asian and black voters, Labour dominates, 35 amongst Asian, 45 amongst black, I think, with Greens at 20 to 22, so the left really, those two really dominate. On progressive issues, well, we know, I would say 2 issues, and I don't know about, well, forget it, it's just now. And low support among minorities peaks at 2 to 5%, reflecting Restore's Britain's focus, special focus, you could say. And the crosstabs show higher margins of error for smaller groups. It could be 5 to 8%, so that's pretty big. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, Reform did do well amongst mixed and other ethnic groups to a degree, I would say. 1815. Anyway, that's all for just now.